So this is Summer.
And this is Jody.
And we are Active Pursuit. And today we're going to talk about number 6 of 6 arguments that we've been in. And we don't feel like we fight that much, but when we do have a discord, it's a big deal for us. And it seems like it's the end of the world to us, right?
It was a big deal.
This one was big, I would say. So a little bit of background is that we actually started Active Pursuit, and our second video was literally recording a resolution of like one of our first arguments. This morning we were kind of still walking on eggshells with each other, and it was nice eggshells. It was, niceties, but it was kind of uncomfortable because I don't know what you're feeling from me, the vibe you're feeling from me, but I'm feeling from you, like, don't make a mistake. She's gonna be pissed.
Oh.
She's gonna. That's kind of this, like, I feel like you are really tense around me right now.
I wouldn't characterize that. I wouldn't characterize it that way.
Okay.
I'm paying attention to my behavior.
Yeah.
So that may come off as being tense. And due to the magnitude of the situation that we were just in, I feel like we're in a recovery period right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's things, there was a complete upheaval. And so I feel like it's time for a restart. And we have to ease into that to some extent.
Well, our blow up happened 2 nights ago, right? Okay. Just kind of setting that context.
No, that's good. I wanted to reveal some stuff about myself that could shed light on how things progress from my end, why things are the way they are. My asks from you, and then, arguing technique. So I don't,
Rules of engagement.
Right. And I don't think we need to go into in-depth detail what was going into cover that.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So
I'm prepared to start if you'd like, but then, I want to hear, obviously that's why we're doing this. I want to hear how you feel about those things too.
I think this would be good if you go first, because, I think I was in a state of bewilderment.
Okay.
And I'm sure at some point you were too.
Sure. Yeah.
I think the only thing I would say is that of the 6 arguments, disagreements, blowouts that we've had, this is the second that had to do around me dealing with breast cancer. And it's that part has just really magnified my stress around it. And what I've done in the time period that we've been in our relationship is I've gone from being extremely closed and not letting you in particularly, but I'm pretty good with letting my girlfriends in, but also at a certain level, like maybe I don't always share my feelings, but I think I'm getting better. As I mentioned in the breast cancer video that we shot, that having the time with Nick being sick, it forced me to have to share about my intimate life and my intimate feelings, which is something I'd never done before, and for everyone to see, because everyone was available, because it was such a devastating situation when a kid has cancer. So I learned a lot in that year of valuable things and ways of being, and I know people felt more connected to me, but it hasn't been my MO. And so being so open about the whole breast cancer thing and how I'm doing has not been easy, but it's a lot probably better. And then number 2 is that you have become my closest friend. We're together all the time. The only time we're not together is pretty much when Jody's working. And, you know, sometimes when we're doing one-offs with our kids individually or something like that, but, you know, we're pretty much attached at the hip.
Mm-hmm.
If one of us shows up at the gym and the other one doesn't, everyone's like, where's the other person?
Right.
And, you know, we try and take most of our meals together and, you know, and yeah. So you are the one who hears all my feelings and my private stuff, and you've been helping me to be more transparent and open about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the things for me was that this whole episode scared me a lot, and it made me rethink the level of vulnerability that I wanted to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I went to, even in the aftermath of we're starting to get okay, even last night when I went to bed, I was thinking, you know, I'm not going to keep the level of vulnerability that I've been at. And I think I slept on that, and I thought, you know, I would be hurting not just you, but I would be hurting me too. And I think that one of the things that we're seeing as a really positive part of our relationship, and I think something that we're super excited about, is that we are able to be vulnerable with each other and be treated well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that I'm going to hold that back, you know, going forward. If that makes sense.
It doesn't only make sense, it makes me feel really good. I'm just looking at you, and you know, I think you're beautiful, and I tell you all the time.
Thank
and
you.
You're welcome, and you're more beautiful to me because you're so brave the way you deal with these things, and your vulnerability amazes me.
I don't even feel like I was all that brave the other day.
Well, maybe without getting into too much detail about the argument that we had, I think we were both off our A game. I think that's an understatement of the year.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stress in the air. We were trying to deal with, there are other complications in our lives.
Yeah, a lot of big complications.
We've shared a lot of them with you, so you know that that's where we are right now. It's stressful, and it was late at night, and it had to be dealt with. So there was a lot against us. So I'm trying to be compassionate with myself, with the mistakes that I made. But I want to address some of them too. And I want to, talk about some of the things that are true about me. So to start about that, I don't know if I shared my Myers-Briggs with you. And it's getting really kind of logical and technical, but it's very relevant.
No, I don't think you have.
I'm an ENTP, extrovert, as you know. Intuitive, thinking, and perceiving. And the big one is this intuitive. I'm a flaming intuitive person, which deals with abstraction. I tend to be in my head a lot, and the sensing part's not always there. So I'm not necessarily aware of what's going on around me, and I'm not necessarily aware of the people who are around me and their feelings and what's going on. And so I can come off as being insouciant. Like, I don't care. I see that you're upset and I don't care about it. And there's a factor of that with my athletic training too, which I'm a competitor and I want to win. And so there is something about hiding your emotions because you don't want, anyone to know what you're feeling. So I have a little poker face on me too.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to telegraph.
No.
on the court.
Which is a super great mental quality to have in athletics, and athletics are a great analog for life in general. Mm-hmm. That's where it kind of falls short, because there are people who you have to let know how you're feeling, and you have to try to understand. It's like the women's basketball. Like people are like, "Oh, are you hurt?" And that doesn't happen in Joe's world when I'm playing basketball.
Right.
But with me and you, I need to know when you're hurt, and I need to not just know. I need to probe that. I actively seek it, You
did that for breakfast this morning. You asked me how I was doing, and then you said, okay, how are you specifically doing around breast cancer this morning?
And I think part of the tenseness that you're picking up in me is the good news, the gold from the argument, which is, Joe, shut the fuck up and listen, and listen actively the way you're trained to. Because another part of that N thing for me, being totally abstract, you can also get lost in what you're doing. So I can be 100% focused on a math problem, or a basketball game, or my relationship with you, or you in particular, or my client when I'm doing counseling. And then it kind of flips the script, and now my job is to be focusing. And that I'm really good at. So it's a weird factor with that N. It can take me away from it because I'm in this abstract, or it can just, I can be in it. I can be 100% in what I'm doing, forgetting preservation and things like that, eating and stuff like that. So I need to do that with you more frequently, especially in times like this. And I didn't bring it. And I think that was a portion of the problem the other day.
Yeah, so I think one of the things as I was looking back at everything that happened is that you had said to me when I was leaving the gym yesterday morning, or two mornings ago, how I was doing, or what I was going to do, or whatever. And I think one of the things that I thought about is that you were maintaining a 10-foot, almost like a 6 to 10 foot space between us. And you never do that. And I was just like, wow, this man has not really touched me and hugged me for almost 24 hours and is keeping distance. Like, what the heck is going on here? And it just made me then, and this is where I think my mistake was in that truck, as I was getting in the truck, it was like I was simmering, and I should have just said, why aren't you hugging me? Like, what's going on here? Or like, why aren't you talking to me? Because usually I can't keep your hands off of me. Like, I'm constantly like pushing you away. Not really, but
a lot. Yeah, I know.
Like, all right. And so I just didn't understand this sudden, and it's, and I think part of it is that you went into the other part of the stress world that I wasn't as much connected to, and you just kind of submerged into that, and then didn't really come back up, and didn't communicate with me very much. You did some, but not like you usually do.
Right.
And I think that distance, I felt it, and then you felt it, and then I think you were a little afraid to lean in to it and break it. And I was probably frustrated enough at that point that I think I wanted to say something, but I don't know why I didn't. Maybe it was just fear of rejection, which is so weird because it's not like you're ever going to reject me if I say, will you hug me or touch me?
No.
So I don't know where that was
and I don't know
from.
where the stress reaction that you're talking about was coming from, and I don't know why I wasn't closer.
Do you remember that, being in the parking lot and I was getting in the truck and you were standing on the other side of the door? Do you remember that? Because that's when I was like, there's definitely something wrong with us.
I'll just share what comes to mind. Part of this is the intentional decision to not be sleeping together, just out of the situation going on in my family, in my home with my son. And I miss you. And I think this part of it is I need to kind of distance. I think that might be part of it. I'm not near you, and I can't be with you. I know that, and so it's almost like too painful then to even engage, if that makes any sense, because I want to be with you completely. And if I can't, it's like, okay, we're together, obviously, still love each other, but it just feels like distance makes more sense, which is stupid.
That's interesting. as opposed to coming up and giving me a big hug and going, I really miss you.
Right, which is
really what we felt.
Right.
But it's weird that...
I'm sorry. And I think why did you not do that? And I think, the twisted answer to that in my mind is, then why wouldn't you be sleeping over at my house? No, obviously, we sleep together almost every single night, but we still are maintaining separate households because one of the kids is going off to college soon, and he's going through a stressful time of test taking, APs, and so we're trying to work with him to make sure we don't disrupt his environment so he can optimize. And he's one of the kids who just can't be that flexible. And it's fine. Everyone has their own personalities. He's a teenager. It's the situation. And we also know that we're building relationships for the long run. And so we don't need to stress the teenagers out or our kids out because these years are so impressionable. It can have long range implications in the relationships that we have with them later. So example for, we don't want to overstress my kids with you because we want we don't want them to be resentful, and we also don't want your kids to be resentful of me. So we're just, there's no handbook on this stuff. So we're just trying to balance it. But I think then with the cry out for help and, and all that, our reaction was to, really have you focus on him and have hours of time period with him, which means that when you have him, that you stay at your house. And so, and I think you were, because one thing is you never fully communicated your plan with me. And I think part of it is that you probably didn't want to commit to it, because when you commit to the plan, I make you stick to the plan, because you've committed to plans before and then been like, and I'm like, no. Right. There was a reason when you were sane that you made that decision. Right now, you just want to get snuggly, but no, you gotta go. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that's a good summary of what's going on too.
Hey y'all, I'm Summer.
And I'm Jody.
And we are Active Pursuit.
Please subscribe to our channel.
And like this video.
And don't forget to turn on the bell for notifications.
And share this with one of your friends.
Please add comments because we read them.
And connect with us on social media. All of our connections are in the dialogue box. And we look forward to catching up with you.
See you later.
Ciao.